All right, fellas, I better get started so we get something done today.
So I could make the sketch the size of the house.
The first thing, sorry, we'll have to get started.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say to you, I think I'm going to make some changes to this schedule here because I don't want to give you too much stuff. But what I'm going to do is, instead of doing this parametric components element next week, I think I'll push that out to the second semester because you don't actually get a chance to use it very much until maybe in the fourth semester. And I think it makes more sense to take 2 weeks on how you're sharing your files, or how you possibly could share your files together, and how you could all work together on the same project and so on. So rather than trying to squeeze that, because that's a big subject, into 1 week, I think I'll make these 2 weeks, 43 and 44, about sharing files and sharing stuff between you. And I'm going to push the parametric teaching to next semester, okay? Because it's limited use in the first semester. Well, it's no use at all. You won't get a chance to use it in the first semester anyway, so you'll just forget it. And I think that'll make it more sense. But today I want to talk about modeling freeform components. Components that are not walls or stairs or anything that's part of the usual building elements, but they're actually freeform. And to use as an example for that, I'm going to make a kitchen in the house, just to show you how you can quickly put a kitchen together and give it some kind of quality. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll go into the one-eye house up here. And wait till it opens up. There we go. So there's the house we left it last week. Let's just go down. And if I go into the ground floor plan, and we can switch this image on again, I'm going to unhide in view elements. If I do that again, you press this button down the bottom, reveal hidden elements, and that shows everything that's hidden. And then you can select the image, right click, unhide in view element, and that'll make it visible in the project again. Yeah, okay. Well, it doesn't matter. You can start to do it without the sketch anyway. But I'm going to turn this on to wireframe so I can see through the house and into the image behind. So now we've got what we've drawn is here, and there's the kitchen. We can pretty much see there's a kitchen in there behind. Now we have these 900 module lines, so we can see pretty much how everything is set up. So first thing we need to do is, what I'm talking about today is pretty much components. So under the architecture tab, you have on the fourth button here is component, place a component. So this is how you insert anything that somebody else has made or you've made somewhere else, like chairs or any kind of furniture or anything that's been made somewhere else. You can insert it into the project as a component. So we have two options. We have place a component, which is what I was just talking about, and we also have model in place, where you can actually make a component in place that's specific to the project itself. Okay, so I'll just go through those one at a time. So first we're going to do place a component. So if I press place a component, you can see over in the properties tab there's actually already some components loaded into this project. These are just loaded in from the template that we installed from the Dan.edu template. Now, there's actually components in here to make a kitchen, but often you might have a situation where you don't have components to make a kitchen, so you need to load a family outside. I can either use these cabinets in here, for example, or I can go to load family, and if I go down to the Dan.edu template and into casework, we have some cabinets in here as well. You can see that we get a little preview on the right there as to what we get when we load them in. So there are some pre-made cabinets in here that we can load into the project. If you don't have anything in there, we can also cancel out of that and go into the Insert tab in Revit, and over here we could type in kitchen, for example, which will bring us to the Autodesk website, which is full of you know, whatever we want in regards to kitchen cabinets. So let's say we want to take, what do we take? Let's make it good. Let's just take a simple corner base cabinet here. And I'm going to select the latest version, which is Revit 2011, and just download it. So here it comes, base corner 1. I can open it up. So there's a corner kitchen cabinet. So if we're happy with that, all you press is load into project. And you can see it turns up here under base corner 1. And then I can just plug it into the corner of the kitchen like that. What's that? The whole thing?
Yeah, just about loading.
Oh, okay. That's in. If you go back into the family that I was looking at the top here, there should be a button that says load into project.
Yeah, but if you want to get this picture to import it into Revit, how do you do that?
You press load into project.
Yeah, but when I came into Autodesk, it was like this.
Okay, but did you come into Autodesk through this insert button here? If you look at this, see this insert tab here, and then over here to this Autodesk Seek.
Okay.
That's the one, because they have thousands of websites. You have to use their Autodesk Seek website. Is that working? Yeah, there you go.
You select it and then what?
Select the one that you want to download.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it quickly. So let's just say kitchen, for example. Press enter. And it opens up Autodesk Seek. And it opens up Europe on my one, but yours might open up America, for example. They have different options. So if I change this option up here from Europe to America, you get, well, first of all, it changes it completely, so you have to type it in again, kitchen. But you get a lot of different options. You can see they have a lot more stuff in Autodesk Seek that are from manufacturers. So they have real stuff from the American or the US manufacturing industry. But if I change it back to Europe again, there isn't so much stuff. It's a lot of generic stuff. And there's other things we could do with that as well. We can go and find other stuff in different parts that we can use. So once you find one that you like, let's try base corner 3 this time. You can click on it. Choose one of the options. They tend to have 2010 and 2011, but I always choose the newest one. It doesn't really make any difference, but because it upgrades it when it comes into the new version of Revit. And then download. And if you're using Chrome, it'll turn up on the left corner here. Otherwise, you need to find it wherever it's downloaded to and open it up. Revit. Load into project. And so it comes in. Now, if you see it comes in here with a specific orientation, if I wanted to put that in the corner there, it's not going to work because you can see that it's actually designed to turn the corner. But if I press the space bar, it'll spin it around until we get it to the right thing we want. So that's just pressing the space bar. It'll spin it around like that for you. Okay. So let's just try and get, close that down, close that down, close that down. And I'm going to get the 3D view open. So now we have something that looks like this. We've got two different types of kitchen cabinet.
Use a seat profile. Doesn't it? No.
I think, okay, well, I'll pause that there for a second. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to delete one of these because I only want to have one type in there. There are often, you can also go to somewhere like, if I press up here on the top right, there's a little X on the top panel for Revit. And this is a link to the Exchange applications. And this is plugins for Revit. So this is just to give you some information about how far this goes with different manufacturers that are making these models. Down on the right here, the number 3 most downloaded plugin for Revit is something called BIM Object. If you click on that and download it and install it, you will get something like this in your Revit. You'll actually get a little tab at the top that's dedicated to BIM Object. So down here, if you switch that on, you can see that it's actually got manufacturers that are ready to go here. You can click on any of these and they will give you, for example, Stowe render systems or Velux windows or whatever. These are now in your ready to go in your Revit. If I press browse here,
How did you get into that? Do you want us to download it?
I'm just saying it's an option. It's a new thing. It's a new thing.
Ooh.
So now you actually have products by specific manufacturers that have all the information attached to them that you need in order to order this stuff.
With the prices as well?
No, not with the prices, because they'll never tell you the prices. But they will definitely give you the schedule number. So this is one of the biggest libraries happening at the moment. This is a company that's growing and growing, and they're adding more and more companies to it all the time. So for example, if I just type in chair at the top here under BIM Object, we get a lot of different type of chairs from specific manufacturers that you can just add to your project. Let's just see if this works now. Let's just click on this wood chair. So we have an ArchiCAD, we've got an AutoCAD, and we've got a Revit version of it. So let's download the Revit version of it. And there it is. The chair just turns up in the project.
Yeah. Where do we go to download the plugin from Revit?
The plugin from Revit, all the plugins in Revit, the link to it is up here, beside where your name is signed in. It's called Exchange Apps. So click on that, it'll open up a website. Let's do it again. Which has a lot of options to do with different things: annotation, architectural, performance analysis, many things. And these are apps, just like apps for your smartphone are written. Their developers have written these, and some of them are free. Some of them you pay a lot of money for. But this BIM Object one is completely free.
It's asking for the Autodesk desk account. Is that just our key?
That's the account that you made on Autodesk when you download it.
Exactly. Right. So let's get back to this. So there's the chair that I inserted from BIM Object. If I select it now, and if we go into Edit Type, you can see that it's got all the information that you would need in order to order it. It's got the technical description. It's got where you find it on the internet. And it's got the article number, the designer, and so on and so on. So all this information is now embedded in the model, which means that you can very quickly just print out a schedule of all the furniture that you want in your model, and it will look exactly, well, pretty much exactly like the furniture that you've downloaded and inserted. So let's just move that chair. Let's move it over here. Get it out of the way. So now I'm just going to continue. And I'm going to insert some more cabinets. So go back to the Architecture tab, Component, Place a Component, and this time around I'm going to go down and just get some straight base cabinets at 600 millimeters. I'm going to select this one, and I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm just going to put a few of them in to the model. Why didn't that work? Let's just copy that. And copy this. So it's kind of following the line of the area beneath on the sketch. Right, and I think what I'll do is I'll switch this one so it's kind of the same type to the other one, if we can. Insert, Load family.
So
Casework.
can I ask you, if I download it, the app, where can I find it now?
If you install it,
Yeah.
you need to shut down Revit and restart it again, and it should turn up here. Okay.
I think you need to remain.
Oh, I don't.
What about, I don't know how it's called, soft?
Oh, I actually got it already.
The podium, the basement, or the basement, the base board. Yeah. Yeah, there is a already loaded into your Revit should be something called plinth. So let's just draw in the plinth. If I say I'm going to use this plinth, and wait a second, I'm in the middle of doing two things. I'm going to go to architecture component, place a component, and I go to plinth. So then we get a plinth in here, if I can just put it in place. And you can see it starts to turn up underneath, like that. And once you put it in, you can stretch it to whatever length or width you want. It was exactly the same process. So component, place a component, came over here, and I selected something called plinth.
Oh.
And then you just put it, it automatically comes in at the right level. All you need to do is stretch the size of it.
How do I go back?
Wait a second. I'm going to finish this first, and then we can talk about it a bit more. So let's just put in another base cabinet corner.
Like, for some reason, the corner one and the other one are not really attached together.
Yeah.
Is that the normal or?
Yeah, it might be if you have downloaded a corner one from one manufacturer and the other one from another manufacturer, they won't link up together. So you kind of need to kind of think about it. Like, for example, here we have two slightly different ones. They're the same height, but they have different material on the front. But we could, for example, select this, come over here to edit type, and we could change the front finish to whatever material we wanted to get them to line up together. So if I change this to, for example, ash, and say user under appearance, okay, apply. So I've changed all those types to ash now, so they fit together.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like there's an actual gap, like that it either overlaps or there's a gap.
Okay, it doesn't go halfway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try. I'll come down to you in a second. But what you can try and do is you can select, and you can use the align tool to align it directly, like that.
Just stretch that.
You just click on it. Once you insert it, you click on it like this, and then you get these little arrows, and you can just basically stretch those wherever you want to put them.
Oh, you can't stretch it in 3D.
You probably can. It's usually easier to stretch in a plan. No, you can't actually. No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just very quickly put in some more cabinets. Here we go. So I'm going to go architecture component, place a component, and this time around I'm going to choose a high level cabinet. And I think there's a few, upper cabinet. So let's choose these 600, and let's just put them just above the other ones. So we got some upper cabinets as well. And once again, I can go in here, edit the type, change the front finish, and let's just change the front finish to ash again, so everything kind of looks as if it's part of the same thing. Okay.
But you're gonna have to do them in 3D view, right?
No, you can insert them in 2D view. They automatically come in at the right level.
Yeah, okay.
And you can see we can control. For example, this is starting to look a bit messy now. So we can control how these things are displayed. So I can select this, edit the type, and I can switch off the swing, the door swing, so we don't see these door swings coming out. And it just makes the drawing a little bit more together, a little bit neater. And similarly, let's just see, we don't need to show this. We have an option to switch it off. Let's just see if that applies. Let's do the same thing with the lower ones as well, because we don't want to see these door swings. We just kind of switch off the door swing. Okay, and we're just going to move this, move them together. Doesn't want to move it together. Okay, now I'm going to switch this off just because it's confusing. So I'm going to go back and hide in view, elements. So now we've got just a straight drawing like this. Okay, so we have some options in some of these cabinets, for example. Let's say we want to put a sink in here. If I select this cabinet, we should have a sink cut option. So there's actually just a tick box where you can actually press on sink cut. So I press that on. You can see that it cuts a hole for the sink for you. So let's do that again with this one. If I select this one, press on sink cut, and we cut a hole for the wash basin. For the wash basin. So that's just that depends on the type of family you've downloaded as to whether it'll allow that. But we also get control over how big it is.
Can you sorry, Sean?
Yeah.
Can you as well change the materials?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that you're gonna stay like that. I mean.
No. These ones, for example, these are just very basic, generic cabinets. Especially on the American Autodesk Seek site, they actually have cabinets from manufacturers that are specific, and you can download those as well. Let's have a look at BIM Object. They probably have a few nice kitchens in BIM Object now. But
to make a model, we should have a property to open the hole for the sink. Like if I were to make this model, I would have to somehow would have to create a family, and I would have to make this option.
Yes,
as an option.
It's called a yes/no parameter. But I'm not going to talk about that till second semester because it's just too much stuff, and you don't get a chance to use it anyway. Okay. Okay, so there aren't that many. There aren't any kitchens set up really in BIM Object yet, but you could probably find them in other places. But okay, so let's insert a sink just to start things off. So I'm going to go in and go back into architecture, component, place a component, save the project. And let's see what we've got already loaded. We've got sink kitchen single, and we've got countertop with sink. Okay, so that we don't want that. So I'm going to load a family. And what have we got in here? Plumbing fixtures. Let's see if we've got some kind of a kitchen sink in here. Not really. So I'm going to use Autodesk Seek actually. So insert sink, and we'll find some kind of beautiful sink, yeah, or something that looks like a kitchen sink. Yeah, something like this. Let's take this one. So I'm going to do it again. Click it on, download. Open it up. So there it is there. I'm just going to say load into project. So now we have a sink ready to plug into the project. So we can actually put it in there. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's the wrong place. Let's move it again. Let's move it to, yeah. So now we've got a sink. And you can see that actually these cuts often don't line up correctly. So you need to adjust them. Or you can also use a type of a cabinet that doesn't have a top element to it, because we still need to put the kitchen counter on top, the table that everything else is going to be held on top of. So let's leave that for the moment. I think cut this. Let's just play with this a bit, because I haven't tried this particular family before. It makes it a bit wider. And let's do it on this one as well. Let's just make it to 50. It's not really that important because we're going to put a counter on, but just so it doesn't project.
So you have to do manually. You cannot cut around.
You can cut around, yeah, but it's just. Usually, if I was doing this, I would use a type of cabinet that doesn't have a top on it. It's just completely open. Because at the moment, you can see the issue here is we've got the timber coming up through the center of the thing. So I would use a different type of cabinet, a double one that has an open top. But anyway, let's just leave it like that for the moment, because that's what I started doing. So what I wanted to start to show you is actually how to draw your kitchen counter, because that's something that's always different, because it depends on the shape of the room. So I'm going to draw a kitchen counter that goes on top of all this and cuts out an opening for the sink, and then we can give it a material. So it's the same button again. We use architecture, component, but this time I'm going to do a model in place component.
Before you go on, my sink goes in a sheet.
Okay, wait a second. I'm just going to pause this.
Not ideal.
All right. Oh, shit. I never paused it. God damn it. Anyway, let's keep going. I'll have to clip that bit out of the middle. All right, so yeah, we can see we've got a problem with this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this family type. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to come over here, and I've got a double door one here. So what we got? We got one that's let's delete this one, and we'll just move it over and line it up like that. Try and get it to work. And this one we've got sink cut, and we'll make it 50. Apply. So that kind of looks a bit better. So we have that looks like it should be more or less in that position. Let's just move it a little bit forward.
Where's the
Let's just select it again. Edit the type. Change the front finish back to what we want it to be, ash. And yes, apply. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is a little bit messy, but anyway, there you go. Okay.
Can I?
Well, I have.
I can only
Resume it. All right, so now I'm going to draw a table on top of this stuff. So the way we do that is we go to architecture. It's the component tab again, but this time we're doing a model in place because it's specific to where we are. So model in place, and we need to give it a category. So let's just make it the same category as everything else. We're going to call it casework. Okay. And we'll call it, will I do it again? Component. Model in place. You got that? And then I'm going to give it a category. And the reason to give it a category is if you want to switch it off, at least it's in the same category as everything else. So let's just leave it at casework. Press OK. And
This work?
casework.
Okay.
Call it kitchen counter. Press OK. And you can see when you do that, everything goes grey. And what that means is that we can't edit anything else. All we can edit is what we're working on right now, which is the kitchen counter. And also what turns up along the top here is these 5 modeling tools: extrusion, blend, revolve, sweep, swept, blend. And these are like 3D modeling tools. And they all have different functions. What we need to use for a kitchen counter is something called extrusion. And what that basically is that you draw the shape of something and then you extrude it up so it becomes a solid element like that within the project. So I'm going to press extrusion, and I'm going to come back over here to the ground floor plan, and I'm just going to use the line tool to draw the shape of the counter that we want. So I'm going to draw it from here to the edge of the, and I'm going to make it 600 deep because that's just like a standard. And I'm going to put it back over here, back here, here, and then close it. I'm just going to double check that that's the right dimension, so I'm going to change that to 600. But I also want to cut a hole for the sink, otherwise the kitchen counter that we make is going to go right through the sink. So I'm going to use this select lines tool here, pick lines, and I'm going to just select the edges of the sink so that we get the Revit to cut out an opening in the counter for the sink.
Can you do that last button again, please? Which cutting thing?
Yeah, that was just this button here, pick lines.
Oh, okay. But,
Through that, and what?
I'll tell you what, I'll finish it and then I'll do it again. All right. So once you should in 3D have something like that which shows the diagram of the counter on the ground. And if you accept that, well, let's wait a second. Over here, we also have these options: extrusion end and extrusion start. And basically what that means is what level do we want to start the counter at and what level do we want to stop it at. So we probably want to start it around about 850 millimeters off the ground. And we'll stop it at, or 860, let's make it a little bit more accurate, 860, and we'll make it 40 millimeters thick, so I'm going to make it 900 millimeters to stop, okay? And apply. And then if I accept this, then we've got a little counter set up in the project like that. So now if I select it again, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to change the material. And I think I'll give it a tile. I'm going to make it a ceramic mosaic just because, you know, it's a little bit different. Press OK. Press OK. And accept this. Finish the model. So now, if I change the view to realistic, let's see what it has. Oh, everything looks a bit screwed up. Wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So obviously what that is caused by is the person who made the family for the sink used a certain type of metal as the surface, which had the same name as the type that we have in our template that we use here. So I'm just going to select the sink and change the materials on it. So select it, edit the type, and I'm going to change the taps from stainless steel. Let's just type in something like chrome. Oops, chrome. Here we have steel chrome plated. Let's put that in for the taps. Apply. And for the sink, we'll just put in something a little bit more, just steel. Steel. Let's just use this one. Apply. Okay. Yeah.
Can you scale the pattern or the text?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
because for if I don't know if you select like concrete, and the concrete
Yeah,
it has this kind of details.
yeah.
You can scale and
Yeah, yeah. There's one of the videos. I did a thing on that a couple of weeks ago, actually.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's in the videos. You can look it up.
Okay.
It's under one of the things.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go back and just check this extrusion again, because that's got the wrong material as well. So edit the type, and that doesn't work. So let's say edit in place. Select it. And material is set to ash for some reason. Let's go back and set it to, what did we say, tile, mosaic tile, and finish. And now we've got a mosaic tile. There we go. So let's just, I'm going to do this again, but let's just switch this on just to see what the quality of the materials give us if we switch on the ray tracing option. Of course, there isn't much light in this model, but you can see it's reflecting. It's obviously a very glossy finish, so it's reflecting the chair in the background. It's also reflecting some light off the top. So the materials are quite accurate. So that looks all right. Okay, so let's close that down. And the last thing I want to do, and then I'll repeat the process again, is I'm going to show you how to give an edge to the counter, because you often don't want a completely square edge. So the way to do that is exactly the same. It's in architecture, component, model in place. Casework again. Press OK, and I'm just going to call this one counter edge. And this time, instead of using an extrusion, I'm going to use something that's called a sweep. And this works kind of the same way as we were using when we were doing stairs and we were using wall sweeps, where you make a profile and then you just give it a direction to go in. So let's press sweep. First thing I'm going to do is pick the path we want it to go on. So I'm going to pick the edges. I want it to go here, 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 and here. I'm going to switch off the line thicknesses so we can see it a bit more detail. And you can see it makes a kind of a, I don't know if you can see that, but it makes a kind of a square here, which allows us to draw a shape in it. So I've picked the edges, so I'm happy with that. And now I can get the option to either put in a profile that's in the project already, one we've designed, or we can just sketch a profile. So I'm just going to sketch quickly a little curved edge to the like that. And if I accept that, first of all, let's give it the same material as everything else. Let's give it a mosaic and accept it, and then accept it again. So now we've put a little curved edge on the kitchen counter. Okay, and then we can finish the model. And that's kind of a basic kitchen setup. Let's just go back into the ground floor plan and stretch it in again. Where we select this edge here. That's not visible. Never mind. All right. Will I do that again? Will that be easy? Easier? Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's just undo all that. So what I'll do, let's just delete it, save time. Okay. So I'm going to start drawing the kitchen counter again. So I'm going to go into architecture, component, model in place, casework, okay. Let's just leave it at casework 1, okay. And so I'm going to start off by drawing an extrusion, solid extrusion. So we just need to first of all make the shape of the counter that we want. So I'm just going to draw it, and I'm just going to use the cabinets that we've put in as a kind of a guideline. And I'm just going to make sure that these are 600 millimeters apart, because that's like a standard size. So 600, so there's a slight overhang from the cabinets. So select that, just change that to 600. So now we've got the shape of the extrusion. All we need to do is give it the depth. So we decide where we want to start it. So over here it's already typed in because we did it last time. So we can do it either way. I can make that 860. So it starts at 860 above the ground, and make that 900. So it finishes at 900 above the ground. And let's just change the material while we're still here. I'm going to change that into the mosaic. And if I accept it, then it should turn up something like that.
Can you do that?
I'll step one back.
All of that, yeah.
So it was like this. You got this far?
Yeah.
Okay. So over here you have the start point of the extrusion, the height you want it to start at, like the bottom of the table, and the end point that you want it to finish at.
Okay.
So at the moment I'm starting at 860 above the ground, which is like a standard kitchen counter is around about 900. It's adjustable, but it's around about 900. So I'm starting at 860, and then I'm finishing at 900, which will give us a 40 millimeter thickness for the counter, which is kind of a standard. That makes sense? So if you do that, and then we can change the material over here to whatever material you want it to be. So let's change this one to, who wanted a concrete one before? Let's make it a concrete surface. Let's make it concrete broom finish. That sounds nice. And then accept it. And then we've got a nice concrete counter here. Well, you see what I forgot to do there? I forgot to put in the opening in the center. So the concrete has come right through.
So how do you fit?
So let's go back into it again. So I'm going to select the counter we've just made in here. Oops. I'm going to use tab. There we go. Then we go back to edit in place. Select it again. Edit extrusion. And then I'm going to use the pick lines tool to pick the lines that I want to cut out of the kitchen. Don't worry, I'll come down to you in a second. Don't worry. Calm down, calm down. Whoops, not that one. Delete this one. Okay. So if I accept that now and finish the model, you can see that it's cut an opening in the counter. So the last thing is to put the curved edge on it. So once again, architecture, component, model in place. Give it a chance to save. Choose casework again. Let's just leave it as casework 2. And this time we're using a sweep, which is a profile and then a pathway for it to follow. So I press sweep, pick the path, 1, 2, 3, and the edge over here. Accept it, and then edit the profile by sketch. Give it a curve and close the line like that. Accept it, and accept it again. So this time we've got a different material on the edge here. So we could make it like a metal edge or something like that if you wanted to. So you can use this sweep thing to make edges on flat roofs to make flashings, to make gutters, to all that kind of stuff as well.
Was it common, like, before you selected all the lines, all the order, was it common? Was it common that?
I didn't really understand that.
What's the command? I mean, what's the...
Oh, the command, yeah. It's in the components again, so architecture component, model in place, and then it's just one of the options. So for the first one we used extrusion, because that's easy to draw the shape and then just bring it up. But this one we're using sweep, and what that does is you pick a path that you want it to run along, and then you draw a profile that you want the shape to follow. Okay? I haven't touched on any of these because, to be honest with you, you almost never get a chance to use them, even in very advanced buildings. So I'm not going to waste time on them because they're the same idea. And once you get the hang of using these two, the other two, it'll just make sense. You won't have to worry about it too much. So these two are useful. So then I just finished the model. Yes, don't want to make any harm. Okay, so will I pause that and just give you a hand?